Welcome back. We're going to start a brand new installment, and this time, as you may have seen from the title of the video, we'll be talking about lines. Particularly, we'll talk about parallel lines, perpendicular lines, and how to measure a distance between two coordinate ordered pairs, right? So without further delay, let's get started. In the first question, you're asked to determine which of the following is the equation of a line that's parallel to a line that's already given and it passes through the origin. Now, first, let's understand one of the rules of the thumb of what we mean when we say a line is parallel to another line is the slopes of the two lines will be identical. Okay, not the intercept, but the slope. So when two lines are parallel, that means they will have an identical slope, right? With that in mind, let's look at the second component of the question. It says the line is passing through the origin. So when a line passes through the origin, the xy coordinates are 0 and 0. So you have to keep in mind of two things. One, the slope of the two lines are identical. And in this case, the line is also passing through the origin. In a different question, you may be actually given specific values for x and y, but in this case, you're given the coordinates to be 0, 0. With that said, first what you need to do is to transform the given equation for the line in question into appropriate xy form. What do I mean by that? So we have 4x minus y equals 22, right? You want to convert it in such a way that it looks like y equals mx plus c. This is called the slope intercept form. We've done some problems on these concepts before. So what you need to do is if you subtract negative 4x on both sides, that means you'll be able to get 22 minus 4x. Now, if you just multiply or divide by negative on both sides, you can do either, it won't matter. So I'm just going to multiply negative. That'll give you y equals negative 22 plus 4x, which can be written as y equals 4x minus 22. Now, this is similar to y equals mx plus c. That means slope here is m equals 4 and intercept equals negative 22. We're not worried about the intercept because we're really focusing on the slope. Because when we say the two lines are equal, two lines are parallel, that means they have identical slopes, right? So we know m equals 4. So let's write our new equation as y equals mx, which is 4x plus c, right? Now here's the trick. So you can do two things, right? You can rewrite this y minus 4x equals 22, right? So that would make you believe, okay, the 4 is constant. So this is for the given line. This is for the choice we're trying to figure out. They have identical slope. So you may be tempted to pick this as correct answer, but that is incorrect. Why do you think that is? Because the line is passing through the origin, right? So if you substitute y equals 0 and x equals 0 in the equation that we determine y equals 4x plus c, then c is equal to 0, right? That means our new equation is y equals mx plus c. The only thing that you carry over from the previous equation is the slope, so 4x plus c. The remaining is, we don't know what it is, but we do know based on the fact that x and y values are 0 and the intercept is 0. So if you substitute that in here, that means y equals 4x plus 0, right? That means y minus 4x equals 0, which matches, right? So our 4x minus y, it's the same, right? 4x minus y is also equal to 0, right? Right, you can do that, right? You can multiply by negative. That means 4x minus y is also equal to 0. So the trick here is, keep in mind, you can do 4x minus y equals 0 into the conventional form. That means negative y equals negative 4x. That means y equals 4x plus 0. So that's the way I'm able to arrive at this conclusion. So the correct answer is this. Why do you think 4x equals 8y is incorrect, while it also has the same idea of, of intercept being 0? Well, 4x equals 8y. So if you write it in the conventional slope intercept form, that means you divide by 8 on both sides, which would give us x over 2 equals y, implies y minus, right, x over 2 equals 0. Clearly, our slope here is m equals negative 1/2. But we want a slope of 4, so this is incorrect as well. The rest are clearly incorrect as it's written here. So the correct answer is 4x minus y equals 0 is the correct answer. I know it's a lengthier problem, but I wanted to showcase all the nuances that you need to know to get it right. All right, what line is parallel to 2x plus 5y equals 6? And it goes through 5 over 5, 3. Now, if you're a true learner, I suggest you pause the video. If you've understood what we did previously, then you should be able to solve the problem. The only difference being, instead of the line is passing through the origin, it's passing through a ordered pair of 5 and 3. So that's the only thing that's changed. So here's how you do it for those that are still needing that extra bit of practice. For those that are comfortable, you're welcome to pause the video, work through the problem, and continue watching to see if you got it right. So we know 2x plus 5y equals 6. So we need to first convert it into the slope intercept form. So you can do negative 2x on both sides, which would give 5y equals 6 minus 2x. And you can divide by 5 on both sides, which would give you y equals 6 over 5 minus 2 over 5x, right? This means the two lines are parallel. So that means the slopes are equal. And we know here we can also rewrite this as y equals negative 2/5 x plus 6 over 5. So we know our slope is negative 2/5. So straight away you can come over to this set of choices and see which one actually has a slope of negative 2 over 5. There is only one that is actually a perfect match. So that is the correct answer, but let's actually finish solving the problem. So when we write our new equation, the only thing we know is the slope. So let's write it as, this is our new equation, right? And we know the line passes through 5, 3. So we know our x is 5 and y equals 3. That's what it means, right? So if you substitute, 3 equals negative 2 over 5 times 5 plus c, it cancels out. So c equals plus 5. So we can rewrite this equation as y equals negative 2 over 5x plus 5. And that is a perfect match for what we determine as the correct answer. Does that make sense? All right, I highly recommend at this point, even for people that are struggling, to pause the video and try to work it out and continue watching to see if you did it right. If not, you're welcome to continue watching. So you're asked to determine a equation for a line that's parallel to this line and it's passing through 1 and negative 3. So that means we know directly without doing any manipulation here, unlike the first two problems, our slope is 2. So our new equation is y equals 2x plus c, right? So we know now the line passes through 1 and negative 3. That means x equals 1, y equals negative 3, right? So negative 3 equals 2 plus c, c equals negative 5, right? So that means our new equation is y equals 2x negative 5. Is there a choice that's depictive of this? Yes, there is, but they purposely wanted to trick you by doing all of these crazy, weird manipulations here. But no matter what they do, we know if you know our foot is grounded, we can get it right. So I believe it's It's the first choice because that's the only one that has a -5 for intercept. The rest are all incorrect. So in fact, they made our life easy by giving incorrect intercepts. So right away, we know this is the answer, but let's see how they manipulated it. So all they did is they've just added -2x. This is the equation that we deemed as the correct one. So if you add -2x on both sides, then it becomes y minus 2x equals -5. They just flipped these terms around, so they made it look this way. Essentially, they swapped places, not the sign, and they ended up with this, and which is what we have here. So there's more than one way to determine why something is correct, no matter how many times they can manipulate the answer choice. All right, there is a line defined by the equation below. The second line passes through this point and is parallel to the line given above. At this point, I think everyone watching this video should be able to pause the video. I think we've done 3 or 4 problems by now, so you should be able to solve the problem. So go ahead and pause and then continue watching the video. So first we need to convert this 3x plus 4y equals 12 into a form where it's y equals mx plus c. So we can add -3x on both sides, which would give 4y equals 12 minus 3x. And we can divide by 4 on both sides, which would give you y equals 3 minus 3/4 x, right? So we can also rewrite this as y equals -3/4 x plus 3, which means that our slope here is -3/4. Why? Because the 2 lines are parallel. That means they have identical slope. So we now know our new equation is y equals -3/4 x plus c. Now to determine the intercept, we have to substitute the value through which the line is passing through. So we know x equals 1, y equals 2. That means 2 equals -3/4 plus c. You can add plus 3/4 on both sides. So that means it's 8 plus 3 is 11/4 equals c. Right? You don't have to simplify it further. I believe this was one of the questions that does not involve the use of a calculator. So I'm assuming that you should be able to leave the answer choice as it is without converting it any further. This is the line that's parallel to the line that's given, that's passing through points 1 and 2. Does that make sense? All right. If the line passes through these 2 points, these are called ordered pairs. That is, you have a combination of xy and another xy pair, and it's parallel to the line, and we know the slope. What's the value of p? What they have done here is, can you see it? Right. So we have 2 equations given, but one is given entirely in ordered pairs, one is given in a proper equation form. So y equals -2x minus 3. So right away, we know that m equals -2. So the slope is -2 for the first equation. For the second equation, instead of us going this route, we can use the slope equation, which is slope equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, right? Because what the essential of the problem is, the 2 slopes are equal, right? So if you write 5 and -3 and -2 comma p, assign this x1 y1, x2 y2. Now you could always switch it around, doesn't matter. So that means if you write these terms, these ordered pairs in the slope form, it would look like p plus 3 over -2 and -5, right? Which is same as p plus 3 over -7. Now this is the slope of the second line. This is the slope of the first line. The 2 slopes are equal. That means -2 is equal to p plus 3 over -17. So if you multiply by -7 on both sides, that will give you 14 equals p plus 3. P equals 14 minus 3 is 11. So that means, what is the value of p? P is 11. Now, they could have extended this problem by asking what is the equation. Then what do? That means y equals, you need to substitute the value of 11 here first. So it's 11 plus 3 is 14. 14 over negative 7 is negative 2. So that means it's 2x plus c. You can just leave it as it is, right? Because we don't know what the line is going. I guess you can go ahead and substitute one of these values in here and determine the intercept and substitute it back in, but you can also leave it here. Okay. Now this will mark the end of this video, but there's more videos on this topic. So let's go ahead and work out the last problem. Now, for the first time, we are encountering lines that are perpendicular to each other. When two lines are perpendicular to each other, the slope of one of the line is negative reciprocal. That is, let's just do some quick example here. So you have y equals 2x plus c for the first line. And if you say the second line is perpendicular to the first line, then the slope of the second line is negative reciprocal. That's very important. All you need to do is two words, negative reciprocal. Sorry, negative reciprocal. What that means is the slope of the second line is 1 over 2, and you add a negative sign because it's reciprocal of whatever the value, okay? And then you add a negative and then retain everything else. So this would be the slope of the second line. You may be wondering, well, what if it is something like 3 over 2x plus c? If this was the first equation, the second equation is negative reciprocal. The slope is negative reciprocal. So all you do is flip the numbers around, 2 over 3, and you add a negative x plus c. You may be one, I can see what you're thinking is, what if it was this? So let's start with negative 3 over 2x plus c. If this was the first equation, and you have to, and the second line is perpendicular to the first line, then the slope is negative reciprocal. So first you have to flip the number. Because there's already a negative, negative of a negative will be positive. So you don't have to do anything, just don't add a negative sign. I think I've covered all possible combinations of questions that might arise. So when we do more problems on perpendicular line, you can use this idea to extend your working ability, right? So with that said, first let's convert this equation that's already given into our conventional y equals mx plus c form. So we can subtract negative 2x on both sides, which would make it 3y equals 16 minus 2x. And if you divide by 3 on both sides, that's y equals 16 over 3 minus 2/3 x, right? Now, you can rewrite it as y equals negative 2/3 x plus 16 over 3. The 16 over 3 is irrelevant at this point. We know that the slope of the first line is negative 2/3. So the slope of the second line would be negative reciprocal. That means if you call this M1, M2 should be negative reciprocal. So first you flip the numbers. Because there's already a negative, negative of a negative is positive, so you don't need to do anything. You can add a positive sign. Even if you didn't, that would make no difference. So our new equation is y equals 3 over 2x plus c. Now, because you're not told what the lines are passing through, you cannot really proceed here by substitution. Instead, you have to use the answer choice at this point to solve the problem, right? So you have to have a positive slope. That's very important, right? So when you convert all of these expressions into a slope intercept form, when you move the x to the other side, if it is not positive, that means that can be a correct answer. So right away we can say this won't result in a correct answer, this won't result in a correct answer. These three might, but we don't know that for sure, right? So let's go ahead and do this expression here. So 6y equals 6y minus 9 equals, we don't really need to focus on the intercept. Just don't even worry about it. So 6y equals plus 9x plus 16.5, right? You don't need to even add the 9 if you think the plus is confusing. So if you divide by 6, so y equals 9 over 6x plus 16.5 over 6. This is 3 2's, right? This is, sorry, this is 3 3s and this is 3 2s. So we do get the 3 over 2x, right? So this is a likely candidate because we want our slope to be 3 over 2. Now, this won't result because this would be a 4/3. That's incorrect. This will also be not possible because 9 and 4 are not, they don't have a common divisible. If you divide by 2, then 9 won't work. If you do by 3, then 4 won't work. So the correct answer is 6y minus 9x equals 16.5. Do you see how I did the problem? Now, if you're learning it for the first time, it may appear daunting, or you may even think these problems are lengthy. But trust me, as you do more problems, as we continue this whole series on lines, you would become extremely comfortable with the topic. And I assure you, at the end of it, you would become a you'll be able to solve these problems very, very quick, probably under 30 seconds. All right. So continue to stay tuned for more videos. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please consider subscribing, and thank you for watching. I'll see you with another video. Until then, bye-bye.